First, I'm going to debunk all the myths about generational curses that you've been made to believe are true. And in the second part, we're going to look into how to actually break these generational curses. So do yourself a favor and grab a notebook and a pen, because it's going to be a really long video, but you're going to get most value from it. Okay, so myth number 1 about generational curses. It's actually spiritual entities that are actually out to destroy your life and sabotage your success. Listen to me when I say this. Generational curses are not operations of spirits. Okay? You need to keep an open mind. Generational curses are not operations of spirits. They're actually just energetical barriers that have been set in place by consistent beliefs passed down from one generation to another, which have solidified in the collective consciousness of the so-called generation you've been born in. Do I need to repeat? You're smart. I don't think I need to repeat that for you. Okay? So generational curses are not actually operations of spirits. They are simply collective conscious beliefs that have been active for so long in a generation, being passed down from one generation to another, and have over the years solidified and found a firm foundation, and have been unconsciously passed on to you from the moment you are born. That is why they feel so real. That is why generational curses are so evident. When you look into your family, when you look into the generation that you've been born in, they seem so evident. Like, because why would I say that generational curses are not real? When we look into our families, we see them operating. They're not spirits, they're beliefs with simple firm foundations, but we're going to break them. Myth number 2. If you don't break a generational curse, you're going to be a victim of it. Understand that the reason the people in your family that you've been analyzing, and they seem to be stuck in the so-called patterns of generational curses, it's not that they've not been able to break this generational curse. There's a high chance they're not aware of it. They've noticed this pattern in the family, but they've not realized that it's an actual pattern that needs to be broken, that needs to be hacked, and that is why they've fallen victim to it. So you are not supposed to break generational curses. You're actually supposed to analyze the patterns and debunk them and hack them and move around them, because they're simply based off of energy, and energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transmuted. So it's a matter of taking the energy that is feeding these so-called generational curses or patterns in your family and transmuting them into serving the purpose that you want. Another myth about generational curses. They are so hard to break. Let me tell you one thing. Generational curses are not hard to break. And even as much as there's this collective belief that we've been input in, especially if you're coming from an African descent, the generational curses are so hard to break. You might even have to bleed. You need to go to church. You need to pray. You need to do all this shege for you to break these generational curses. Generational curses are not hard to break, because at the end of the day, they do not even exist. They only exist in our minds. The reason they seem so real is because we choose to believe that they are real. And when you believe something to be real as per the laws of the universe, it becomes real. Imagination becomes fact when you back it with belief. And that is exactly what generational curses are. They are simply beliefs that have been backed by strong emotion and feeling, and thus have manifested on the physical reality. I'd like for you to look at all the people in your family who are so bent on proving these generational curses to be right. Oh, you don't go to school, if you don't get that degree, if you get pregnant before you get married, if you marry 2 wives, this will happen. And the moment these people are unconsciously feeding you this information, backing it up with emotion, it becomes so real. Your subconscious does not know false or true. So whatever you are told, backed with strong emotion, becomes real in your life. And if you're watching me and there's a high possibility maybe you have fallen under the so-called generational curse, give yourself grace by understanding that you did not fall under the generational curse. You're simply a victim of not knowing that these beliefs actually manifested in your life. And the last myth about generational curses is that generational curses, they exist so much. Let me tell you one thing. Generational curses are as fake as they come. I will say this I will die on this mountain. Generational curses are as fake as they come. I don't care what anyone else has told you. Oh, they're so real. Look at your sister, look at your brother, look at your uncle, look at your auntie. Generational curses are as fake as they come, because the physical reality will always try to impose its reality, its realness upon your consciousness. But you have to realize that it is your consciousness that is imposing the reality, the realness on this reality. So the moment you realize that generational curses are not real, they are very, very much fake. Very, very much fake. I don't care what you've seen in your family, what you've seen people doing in your family, the patterns you've noticed. Understand that those patterns exist and they continue to enact and repeat themselves because people have chosen to believe that these so-called generational curses are real, that some ancestor did something, or your uncle, your auntie. No. When you were born, You are an individual spirit, okay? And as much as you are born into this generation, your path is defined by you, not by that generational curse, not by what your parents said, not by what your siblings did, not by what your so-called ancestors decided to do and cast your generation. That is a lie. Those generational curses are fake, and fake as they come. You need to be open-minded if you really want to get value from this video. They are fake, and as fake as they come. So now that I've debunked all the myths about generational curses for you, we're going to go into the juicy part of how to actually break them. Not really break them, but just get rid of them, really. The first step of breaking generational curses is to analyze the enablers of this generational curse in your family. What do I mean by enablers? Enablers are the people who have concreted its existence in your reality. Enablers are the people who have so-called manifested it, and enablers are the people who have made you believe that these things are real. And a lot of the times, the enablers of these generational curses are your parents. I'm not here to be nice, I'm just here to tell you the truth. Don't shoot the messenger. The enablers of these generational curses in your family most likely are your parents, because they feel that it is so real. They've seen it in their siblings. They've seen it in their own lives perhaps. And they fear that if they do not instill as much fear into you about this thing, you will not be serious about breaking it. Look at all the times you felt like when you do something contrary to what your parents say, you're falling into the generational curse. If you decide you don't want to do this, now you're doing what your auntie did. If you decide you don't want to go there, now that is exactly what your uncle did. If you do this, that is what your auntie did and now she's pregnant. There's so much emphasis on generational curses, especially in African households. And that is why it keeps trapping us in this sort of cycle whereby no matter how much you try, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, no matter how many pastors you visit, it's like this thing doesn't go away. If anything, it becomes even more strong in your life. So you have to identify the enablers. Look at anyone who keeps telling you about this generational curse. Your older sister, your parents, your uncles, your aunties, your grandparents. Detach from the association of family and look at them as simple human beings who are operating from fear, because that is what generational curses are. They are beliefs enacted by the emotion of fear, and they've been concreted into your consciousness, and they end up manifesting. So you need to identify the enablers of this so-called generational curse in your family and detach from them. Do I mean cut them off? No. I mean detach from them psychologically. Stop believing in these things. Stop listening to what they're saying. Even if they say, your sister is pregnant, your uncle has 2 wives, stop listening to them. Literally be blind and be dumb to their assumptions, because the more you listen to them, the more it becomes imprinted in your subconscious mind. I have an entire video on how to reprogram your subconscious mind. If you'd like to check it out, please do it on my page. But you have to realize that the moment these enablers in your family, in your circle, keep saying these things and keep reacting to these things, they are imprinting it into your subconscious mind. And it's even more detrimental when you are a kid, because when you are a kid, it was much more easier to be imprinted by these beliefs than it is when you are an adult. So when you are a kid, your parents would say, where if you don't go to school, if you do this, if you have a boyfriend, if you go, you will. And the moment you have this fear, you're like, no, I can't do this because I will become like Nani. I can't go here because I will become like Nani. Your life, you live such a constricted and such a fear-based life that you can't have full fulfillment. These generational curses rid you of so much happiness, so much chance to explore, because now you're afraid of exploring new options. You're afraid of going into new spaces because you're afraid you'll become like Nani in your family. You're afraid you'll become like Flani in your family. So you have to understand that you have to identify the enablers of this generational curse in your family and psychologically detach from them. Even if they say it, you're starting to act like Nani, tell them, no, this is my life, and I understand that I'm making the conscious decision to choose my path. No one chooses your path for you except yourself. That is the first step in breaking these generational curses. It is accepting and understanding and being conscious of the reality that no one chooses your destiny apart from you. You are the ship, you're the captain, you're the sailor, yes, whatever. You're the captain of your own ship. No one else. Not these generational curses, not your ancestors, not the reality that you see around with your relatives. None of that. It is you to decide. And if you decide to believe in this generational curse, there's a high possibility it will manifest through you or in other people around you. So first you decide that, you know what, it's my reality. I don't care what anyone else says. I don't care what I see around me. I don't care what these enablers say about this generational curse. It is false, and I refuse to believe in it, because there's no truth except what the subconscious mind believes to be true. Only what the subconscious mind believes to be true will become truth in your reality. That is the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it. You decide it's not true, it will not be true. No one can impose the reality upon you unless you accept it. Okay? So step number 2 in breaking this generational curse. I'm pretty sure you have a clear idea of what this curse is in your mind. Maybe in your family it's people getting pregnant, or men marrying 2 wives, or maybe there's no money, or do these things. I want you to analyze the lives of the people who have been claimed to fall victim to this generational curse. Analyze their lives, analyze their physical reality, because by doing a clear analysis of the physical reality, you have a clear idea of their beliefs. Like I said, generational curses are simply beliefs. And once you understand what is happening on their exterior, you'll understand what is going on in the interior. Because as we always say in this video, as above, so below. The physical reality is simply the realm of result. The true causal energy is in the mind. It is in the mental, in the spiritual plane. Analyze the lives of the people who have been said to fall victim to these so-called generational curses. Because by doing this, you'll have a clear idea of the beliefs that they hold in their mind. Maybe it's for your uncles in your family, they have 2 wives. Analyze their reality, check with the beliefs. In their minds, they believe maybe monogamy is the way to go. Monogamy or polygamy? Polygamy, yes, polygamy is the way to go. Analyze maybe your aunties or the females in your generation who have seemed to fall maybe victim to alcoholism, to drug, or to early pregnancy, or haven't finished school. You'll most likely notice a common belief among them: seeking refuge in drugs. Okay, seeking refuge in drugs, not being stable enough to wait for relationships, not being willing to stay by themselves until they find men who are good for them. It's the reality. It's the reality. You have to analyze with, and you have to scrutinize them with such harshness. It doesn't matter if it is your older sister, your older brother, your father, your uncle. It doesn't matter. Look at them as human beings who have made mistakes, who have fallen victim to unconscious beliefs. You have the beliefs, you will have the key to breaking this so-called generational curse, because the key is the belief. The key to this generational curses is the beliefs. Once you hack the beliefs of what these people have, once you have a clear understanding of the beliefs that these people have, you will be able to believe differently, because you believe differently, you feel differently, you operate differently, and you operate differently, your reality will be different automatically. It's automatic. So it's all about the beliefs. Analyze their beliefs, analyze their patterns, analyze their lives. Once you catch a drift of the beliefs that they have, you'll be able to believe differently. Into step 3, you have a clear definition of the beliefs that they have. Now choose to believe differently. Understand that beliefs, you don't choose beliefs. No, beliefs don't choose you. You choose beliefs, sorry. Beliefs don't choose you. You choose beliefs. Anything you're believing in your life, you chose to believe it, whether you want to believe me or not. Anything you believe in your life, you chose to believe it. You chose to take it to be true. Your subconscious mind expressed what was impressed upon it, whether you knew about it or not, because the subconscious mind does not know bad or good, true or false, right or wrong. It's an unconscious energy. It is an unconscious sort of womb of creation in your mind, and it will bring into existence what you impress upon it, whether you know it or not. That is why you have to be very careful of what you internalize to be true, what you take to be true, what you take to be reality, because that is exactly what will be your reality. So look at the beliefs that these people have. Choose to believe differently. If maybe in your family there's people who are stuck in alcoholism and in drugs and in all these things, once you understand the beliefs that they have about drugs, about how they operate their lives. Oh, maybe life is too short, I need to be happy. Oh, I don't need a man, all these things. You choose to believe differently. You believe and you tell yourself, you know what, I do not need drugs to find fulfillment. You find fulfillment in yourself and in things that you love. If it's about relationships, I do not hate men. I understand that men are human beings, but I choose to invest in myself and wait for the man who has proven himself right to me so that I may be with him and we may have a family in the future. That way, you are less likely to get pregnant. It's the truth. It's never about some sort of curse, some spirit in the sky cursing your generation. It's all about the beliefs. And if you believe differently, you will live differently and you will experience a different reality. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. So change the beliefs. Believe differently from what they believe. And in the last step, when it comes to breaking generational curses, you have to tell yourself, convince yourself that you've already broken them. Maybe in your family, ladies don't finish university, they don't get the degree, or they get into university and they end halfway. It doesn't matter if you're in Form 4, it doesn't matter if you're in first year, second year, third year. Tell yourself that you've already broken that generational curse. Tell yourself, I already have my first class degree. Tell yourself, I already have my degree, I've already finished school. If it's about marriage, tell yourself, I'm already in a happy marriage with a happy family and I'm blessed. If it's about money and it's about poverty, tell yourself, I'm in a reality whereby wealth comes to me. I attract wealth. I am a wealth magnet. I experience abundance and prosperity. If it is about relationships, tell yourself, I experience a reality whereby I am in healthy relationships with someone who loves me, adores me, respects me, listens to me, and sees me for who I am. Literally affirm the reality in which the generational curse does not exist. Because you have to operate from the end. Manifestation operates like that. When it comes to these things, you have to operate from the end. Start at the end. Don't say, I will get a degree so that I can break the generational curse. Say, I've already gotten that degree. The physical reality is yet to catch up. But mentally, in the psychological realm, you already have that degree. You already have that relationship. You are in a happy relationship. You are healthy. If it's maybe sickness that runs in your family, call yourself healthy. As said in the Bible, let the sick say I am healthy. Let the weak say I am strong. Let the poor say I am wealthy. Say that which you want, not that which you've been made to believe is true. Start from the end. So I hope that as you finish watching this video, you've already broken those curses. Whatever they may be, sickness, poverty, whatever they may be, you've already broken them. The physical reality is simply yet to catch up, because the moment you start from the end and you say, you know what, I've already broken this generational curse, I already have my degree, you'll be going through life with such ease. You won't feel this pressure, you won't feel like you have to so that you can. You'll feel like you're already doing it because you have. And the moment you're operating from a state of flow, a state of acceptance, a state of ease, it automatically happens. You get your degree, you get your job, you get your healthy relationship, you no longer, you don't even see that you need to use drugs and all these things, because you followed the law of least effort. The universe has laws that need to be followed, and in this case, you'll be following the law of least effort. You literally won't even use any energy. You won't feel like you're fighting against some spiritual barrier. You won't feel like you need to go to a pastor or for cleansing, and you won't feel like you need to struggle and hurt yourself, because you've already done it. You've already changed reality for you and for your kids and for your family. And people will ask you, how did you do it? It's because you mastered it. Generational curses are not real. Those things are fake they are fake as F. They are so fake. And let me tell you, when I realized just how fake these things are, my life has never been better. I've been living with ease and with acceptance and with flow. I don't struggle with things. I literally don't struggle. Stuff just falls in place, The end, everything works for my good. Everything is working for your good, because you've accepted that you've already broken this curse, that you are not a slave to it, that you were not born to break it, but you were born to experience life, and you are born to be the change in that generation in which you were born in. I genuinely hope this video helped you. I pray that you may find peace in your life. And as always, as above, so below. And if you know, you know.